funny thing about doing this Criterion collection is the reputation I'm starting to get. Also, I just noticed the dogs in the background. You ever wonder why there's a pillow and a blanket on the back of the couch there? It's because Penny, the bigger dog there, sheds a lot, and I put them up there to keep them dog hair light for when I want to use them to lay down or whatever. And the dogs have decided that, oh, good, he put that up there for our comfort. Anyway, I am developing somewhat of a reputation among my friends now because I got invited to see Tron Ares last night, and my friend was like, I know it's kind of lowbrow compared to the stuff you're used to. Like, my brother, I watch so much garbage cinema. By the way, Tron Ares is fine. Good visuals, okay story, good soundtrack, fine movie. No issues. It's a big budget Hollywood film. I watch a lot of garbage. I just happen to also watch these. So anyway, let's talk about the French New Wave movement. Sorry. So today's movie is number 73. It is Cleo from 5 to 7 by Agnès Varda from France from 1962, and it is part of the French New Wave movement, which we'll get to in a second. It is a black and white film that follows the life of a somewhat spoiled and childish singer for 2 hours while she waits. It's been 2 days for her, but we follow her in the last 2 hours of waiting to hear back from her doctor about test results that she's worried may be cancer. And since it's a French film, normally I, do a whole, is there an ending? I guess there's sort of an ending. There's not much of a movie here. There's not a strong story. It really is just kind of this woman's life for an hour and a half as she internally struggles with waiting for these test results and externally just deals with all of her various relationships with other people. There's not a lot to talk about in this film. For me, there's not a lot of substance to, but it is part of the French New Wave movement, and that is something we can talk about. I feel like most countries have this at one point or another. I know we talked about Australia having it during, either the one about the picnic at Hanging Rock or Walkabout. I can't remember which one. But in simplest terms, the French New Wave movement is probably the most famous of these types of movements where the filmmakers in that country went, hey, what if we forget all of the rules of filmmaking and just do whatever we want and explore and push boundaries and bend rules and break rules and let's see what a movie can be. How is that different from postmodernism? Because we've talked about postmodernism. Postmodernism is examining every. It's like having a Lego city, and you start going, well, what if I took the roof off of this building and replaced it with the roof of this building? Ooh, what if the Lego man stood on the side of this building, right? Postmodernism, the best, simplest explanation I can do is playing with all the toys in the toy box in new and creative ways. French New Wave is, okay, but what if we build part of this Lego building out of cardboard? And then we paint these ones. And then we just throw that half of the Lego city away and we get a rubber ball out here. It is completely ignoring all rules, not just playing with them and toying with them and twisting them, but everything's open for debate. What rules of filmmaking? I have two excellent examples of rules of filmmaking that if you're an average just movie watcher, you're not aware of these rules, but if these rules are broken, you would notice. The easiest one is if a character exits off this side of the screen, the next time we see them enter, they should enter from this side. We watch them go out that way, so they should come in this way. If they go out that way and come back in that way in the next shot, it's very confusing to us spatially, right? It doesn't make sense. We just saw them leave. I'm having to say this way and that way because the way the camera flips, I honestly, this is my right. I don't know what it looks like to you. But if they leave off the right side of the screen, then when they come in, they should walk in from the left side of the screen. Basically continuing the movement but a wraparound. But even better is the 180-degree rule. I thought about getting like little figurines and stuff to do this with. I wonder if I can, actually. Hold on with me for a second. Okay. Sure, we're going to do this. This is silly. We're going to do this. Okay. We've got two characters here. These two characters are having a dialogue. We're going to say it's, I don't know, a 10-minute scene where it's just these two characters talking. It's very emotional. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Now, you could set a camera here. We'll do this for a camera. And this far back, you could see both of them full body talking. For 10 minutes, this gets really boring. So you want to mix it up. You want to do a shot when she's talking, focusing on her face. And you want to do a shot when he's talking, focusing on his face. And you can cut immediately back and forth. You could do a medium shot. You could do an over-the-shoulder shot. So you kind of see his shoulder while looking at her face. You have options here to talk, to make it stay visually interesting as these two characters just stand here and talk. Now, what the 180-degree rule is you have to imagine an invisible line between these two. And essentially, when you're filming for the 180-degree rule, you pick which side of that line you're on and you stay there. All of these camera options I showed you are all on this side of them. What you cannot do, I mean you can, the police won't stop you, but it'll be very confusing for your audience. It will not make any sense if you shoot her and then you shoot his response. Visually, that cut will screw you up because it completely loses track of time and space. You don't know what's going on. There is an exception to this rule, and it is if you're shooting it and without cutting the shot, you track, and so you actually see the camera move to the other side of the line. Now you're fine. Now you're living on this side of the line and you can shoot back and forth because the camera, we walked across the line with the camera. So that's the 180-degree rule. It's a very common, can I set the camera back without making all of you sick? Maybe. It's a very common rule in filmmaking, but it's rules like that the French New Wave movement doesn't necessarily follow. They follow whatever rules they want to do. So how does that show up in this film? Honestly, most of the New Wave stuff in this film just comes from rapid cuts and the weird occasional use of color, because it is a black and white movie, but it opens with color and then becomes black and white anytime we're dealing with our characters. It opens with a tarot sequence in color, and then the rest of the film is black and white. But there's also a lot of like very rapid cuts in the film where it's just like, okay, let's see that person's face for 2 seconds. Okay, back. And that person's face back. So there you go. Some cinema rules with some earthbound characters. The French New Wave movement. It's experimental cinema. And again, I always prefer a strong narrative. So should you watch this film, it's entirely possible. If you like slice of life stuff, this is a very well made film. It's very enjoyable for that aspect. But there's not a strong story, because if you ask me what happened in the movie, well, she puttered around with her friends for like an hour and a half and then the movie ended. So up to you to make that call. But next time we stay in France and we stay with director Anya Varda, but we jump ahead 23 years to the movie Vagabond in 1985. I'll see you there. As always, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for participating in my little theater production here. Hopefully you picked something up.